The biggest lie you've ever been told is that being poor makes you holy. Right now, millions of good people are struggling financially while believing their poverty somehow demonstrates spiritual virtue. They've been convinced that wanting wealth is greedy, that seeking abundance is selfish, that desiring prosperity proves they're not truly spiritual. This is complete nonsense, and it's keeping you trapped in a life far beneath what the universe intended for you. Every single day you remain broke, you're committing a sin against your divine nature. Every moment you accept financial limitation, you're rejecting the infinite abundance that is your spiritual birthright. Every time you struggle to pay bills while others prosper, you're operating against the very laws that govern universal prosperity. I'm here to shatter that lie completely. The greatest sin you can commit against divine intelligence is to remain poor when infinite abundance is your birthright. The universe didn't create you to struggle, scrimp, and sacrifice your way through life. You were designed to prosper, to flourish, and to experience the fullness of divine provision in every area of your existence. Your financial struggles are not a test of your spiritual worthiness. They're evidence that you've been deceived about your true nature and divine inheritance. Every day you remain in lack, you're rejecting the gifts that infinite intelligence is trying to pour into your life. Every moment you accept limitation, you're denying the very essence of who you were created to be. The universe operates on principles of abundance, expansion, and unlimited supply. Look around you. Nature demonstrates this principle everywhere. Trees don't apologize for bearing abundant fruit. Rivers don't feel guilty for flowing freely to the ocean. Flowers don't limit their beauty because someone else might have less. The entire cosmos operates on principles of infinite expansion and unlimited expression. You are part of this divine system, created in the image and likeness of infinite abundance itself. When you remain poor, you're operating against your divine design. When you struggle financially, you're contradicting the very laws that govern prosperity in the universe. The religious teaching that poverty equals piety is one of the most destructive lies ever perpetrated against humanity. This false doctrine has kept millions of people trapped in limitation, while convincing them their suffering is somehow spiritually noble. Divine intelligence never intended for you to be poor, struggling, or financially stressed. Consider the biblical account of Solomon, who became the wealthiest man of his time because he aligned with divine wisdom. His prosperity was evidence of divine favor, not divine punishment. Abraham was called the friend of the divine and was blessed with tremendous wealth. Joseph rose from slavery to become the financial administrator of Egypt, demonstrating that divine favor includes material abundance. These weren't accidents or exceptions. They were demonstrations of spiritual law in action. When you align with divine principles, prosperity becomes natural. When you understand your true spiritual identity, abundance flows effortlessly. When you recognize your divine inheritance, wealth becomes inevitable. The universe has been trying to make you rich since the moment you were born. Every opportunity, every idea, every connection has been orchestrated to move you toward greater prosperity. But you've been taught to resist, to feel guilty, to believe that wanting wealth somehow separates you from spiritual truth. Your desire for abundance is divine desire expressing through you. The longing for financial freedom is infinite intelligence calling you to step into your proper inheritance. Your dreams of prosperity are divine downloads, showing you what's possible when you align with universal principles of abundance. Understanding that poverty is a violation of spiritual law transforms your entire relationship with money and success. You begin to see that pursuing wealth is actually a spiritual practice. Seeking abundance becomes an act of faith. Building prosperity becomes a way of honoring the divine gifts within you. This doesn't mean pursuing money for ego gratification or selfish accumulation. Divine prosperity always includes the element of service and blessing others. True spiritual wealth enables you to be a greater blessing to the world, not a burden upon it. The more abundantly you're blessed, the more generously you can bless others. Perhaps you've noticed that your most generous impulses arise when you feel secure and abundant. When you're worried about money, you naturally become more protective and less giving. When you're prospering, you naturally want to share and bless others. This is divine design. Abundance creates more abundance through generosity and service. The universe wants you wealthy because wealth amplifies your ability to serve divine purposes. When you're struggling to pay bills, your energy is consumed with survival rather than service. When you're financially free, your gifts can be fully expressed, your calling can be completely fulfilled, and your divine assignment can be properly resourced. Another way to understand divine prosperity is through the principle of stewardship. The universe doesn't make you wealthy for selfish consumption, but for wise management of divine resources. You become a channel through which abundance flows to accomplish divine purposes on earth. This sacred responsibility requires preparation, character development, and spiritual maturity. The universe often delays wealth until you're ready to handle it properly. Your current financial struggles may be preparation for the prosperity that's coming. Every challenge is developing the wisdom you'll need to manage greater resources. You may also notice that your relationship with money reflects your relationship with the divine. If you struggle to receive money, you may struggle to receive love, praise, or blessings of any kind. If you feel guilty about having money, you may feel guilty about experiencing joy, success, or divine favor in any form. Healing your relationship with money heals your relationship with receiving divine goodness in all its forms. Learning to accept prosperity opens you to accept all the blessings that infinite intelligence wants to pour into your life. Embracing your right to wealth embraces your right to every good gift the universe desires to give you. If these truths are awakening something deep within your spirit, I want you to comment below and declare, "I accept my divine inheritance of unlimited abundance." When you write these words, you're not just making a statement, you're making a sacred covenant with the universe to step into your proper spiritual inheritance. Your written declaration becomes a spiritual contract, activating divine forces to manifest unprecedented prosperity in your life. The act of writing this statement aligns your conscious mind with your divine destiny and alerts infinite intelligence to begin orchestrating miraculous provision. Perhaps the most liberating understanding is recognizing that your financial success glorifies the divine rather than dishonoring it. When you prosper, you demonstrate the power of divine principles. When you thrive, you prove that spiritual laws work. When you experience abundance, you become living evidence of infinite supply. Your wealth becomes a testimony to others that the universe truly provides for its children. Your prosperity encourages others to trust divine provision. Your abundance gives others permission to seek their own financial freedom without guilt or shame. This is why the enemy of human progress works so hard to convince spiritual people that poverty is holy. When enlightened people remain poor, they cannot demonstrate the power of divine principles. When conscious people struggle financially, they cannot inspire others to trust the universe for provision. Your financial breakthrough becomes breakthrough for countless others who are watching your journey. Your prosperity opens pathways for others to follow. Your abundant life gives others hope that they too can experience divine provision in practical, tangible ways. Learning to think like the universe thinks about money revolutionizes your financial reality. The universe never thinks in terms of scarcity, limitation, or lack. Infinite intelligence operates from unlimited resources, endless creativity, and boundless provision. When you align your thinking with universal thinking, abundance becomes your natural experience. The universe sees money as energy, as a tool for good, as a means of blessing and serving others. Money has no inherent evil, only the consciousness that uses it can be positive or negative. When enlightened consciousness directs wealth, beautiful things happen in the world. Divine intelligence wants to trust you with money because you understand its proper purpose. You seek wealth not for selfish gratification but for wise stewardship. You desire abundance not for hoarding but for sharing. You pursue prosperity not for security but for service. This spiritual approach to wealth attracts divine assistance in unprecedented ways. When the universe knows you'll use money for good purposes, unlimited resources become available to you. When infinite intelligence recognizes your generous heart, supernatural provision becomes natural in your life. You may have experienced moments when money appeared exactly when you needed it, often from unexpected sources. These experiences were glimpses of how the universe wants to provide for you consistently. When you're aligned with divine purposes, provision becomes effortless and supernatural. Another powerful principle is understanding that your prosperity blesses everyone around you. When you're financially abundant, you create opportunities for others. Your business success provides employment. Your investments support other enterprises. Your spending stimulates economic growth. Poverty helps no one. Being broke blesses no one. Financial struggle serves no divine purpose. When you remain poor, you rob the world of the good you could do with abundant resources. When you accept limitation, you limit your ability to serve others effectively. The universe needs wealthy people who understand divine principles. Infinite intelligence seeks prosperous individuals who will use money wisely. Divine providence looks for abundant souls who will be channels of blessing rather than reservoirs of greed. Your financial success becomes part of the divine plan to bring heaven to earth. Your wealth enables divine purposes to be funded and fulfilled. Your abundance provides the resources needed to accomplish spiritual missions in the physical world. Perhaps you've been praying for divine intervention in your finances, while simultaneously believing that poverty demonstrates spiritual virtue. This contradictory consciousness creates internal conflict that blocks the very provision you're seeking. You cannot receive what you believe you shouldn't have. Divine alignment requires embracing your right to prosper as completely as you embrace your right to breathe. Abundance is as natural to your spiritual being as oxygen is to your physical being. When you deny your right to wealth, you deny your essential divine nature. The universe has been waiting for you to give yourself permission to be wealthy. Infinite intelligence has been preparing blessings you've been refusing to receive. Divine providence has been arranging opportunities you've been too guilty to pursue. Your guilt about wanting money has been blocking the very resources you need to serve divine purposes effectively. Your shame about prosperity has been preventing the universe from using you as a channel of abundant blessing. Your false humility about wealth has been limiting your spiritual usefulness. Learning to receive abundantly becomes a spiritual discipline that honors the divine. Accepting prosperity becomes an act of faith that trusts infinite provision. Embracing wealth becomes a declaration that you believe the universe is truly abundant and generous. This radical shift in consciousness often brings immediate results. When you stop resisting wealth and start receiving it gratefully, money begins flowing from unexpected directions. When you stop feeling guilty about prosperity and start embracing it joyfully, opportunities multiply rapidly. The universe responds to your readiness to receive by increasing what it sends. Divine intelligence honors your willingness to be blessed by amplifying the blessings. Infinite providence accelerates provision when you accelerate acceptance. Understanding that generosity flows from abundance rather than lack transforms your approach to giving and service. When you're financially secure, giving becomes joy rather than sacrifice. When you're prosperous, serving others becomes natural expression rather than forced obligation. The universe designed abundance to create more abundance through generous circulation. Your wealth is meant to flow through you to bless others, which creates more wealth to flow through you again. This divine circulation system ensures that generous people become increasingly prosperous. Divine economy operates on principles that seem paradoxical to human thinking. The more you give, the more you receive. The more generously you share, the more abundantly you're supplied. The more freely you bless others, the more richly you're blessed. This spiritual law works because the universe recognizes generous hearts as perfect channels for divine provision. When infinite intelligence knows you'll share whatever you receive, unlimited resources become available through you. When divine providence trusts your stewardship, supernatural supply becomes natural in your experience. You may have noticed that your most abundant periods often coincide with your most generous seasons. When you're giving freely, money flows freely. When you're blessing others abundantly, blessings return to you multiplied. This is divine law in action, demonstrating that prosperity and generosity are inseparable. Another essential understanding is recognizing that your financial struggles may be connected to generational patterns of poverty consciousness. Perhaps your family taught you that money is evil, that rich people are bad, or that spiritual people should be poor. These inherited beliefs create invisible barriers to prosperity. Divine healing includes healing your relationship with money and abundance. Spiritual freedom includes freedom from poverty consciousness and lack mentality. Your breakthrough into prosperity often requires breaking generational curses of financial limitation. When you choose abundance, you're not just changing your own financial reality, you're changing the financial destiny of future generations. Your prosperity creates new patterns of abundance for your children and grandchildren. Your wealth establishes new traditions of divine provision in your family line. This generational impact makes your financial success even more significant. You're not pursuing wealth just for yourself, but for everyone who comes after you. Your breakthrough becomes their breakthrough. Your abundance becomes their inheritance. The universe often delays prosperity until you understand its generational significance. When you recognize that your wealth will bless your family for generations, you pursue it with different motivation. When you understand that your abundance will create new possibilities for your descendants, you seek it with greater determination. Perhaps the most transformative understanding is recognizing that your prosperity is part of the divine plan to demonstrate heaven on earth. When spiritual people prosper, they prove that divine principles work in practical ways. When conscious people thrive financially, they show others that abundance and spirituality are compatible. Your wealth becomes evidence that the universe truly provides for those who trust divine principles. Your prosperity demonstrates that faith produces practical results. Your abundance proves that spiritual laws govern financial success. This makes your financial breakthrough a spiritual assignment, not just a personal desire. You're called to prosper as a witness to divine faithfulness. You're meant to be wealthy as a demonstration of infinite provision. You're designed to experience abundance as proof that the universe truly cares for its children. When you understand prosperity as spiritual assignment rather than selfish ambition, pursuing wealth becomes pursuing divine will. Seeking abundance becomes seeking to fulfill your divine purpose. Building financial success becomes building evidence of spiritual truth. This holy approach to wealth attracts supernatural assistance because you're aligning with divine intentions. When you seek prosperity for spiritual purposes, divine forces conspire to ensure your success. When you pursue abundance to demonstrate divine principles, infinite intelligence orchestrates unprecedented provision. You may have been waiting for permission to want wealth, to seek prosperity, to pursue abundance without guilt. Consider this your divine authorization. The universe wants you rich because your wealth will accomplish divine purposes, bless countless lives, and demonstrate spiritual truth in practical ways. Your prosperity is not optional. It's inevitable when you align with divine principles. Your abundance is not accidental. It's intentional when you understand your spiritual inheritance. Your wealth is not selfish. It's sacred when you embrace your role as a steward of divine resources. The time for financial struggle is over. The season of poverty consciousness has ended. The era of abundance without guilt begins now. You must declare with absolute faith, I receive my divine inheritance of unlimited abundance. I embrace prosperity as my spiritual birthright. I accept wealth as my sacred responsibility. I am a channel for divine provision, a steward of infinite resources, and a demonstration of the universe's generous nature. Money flows to me easily, abundantly, and supernaturally because I am aligned with divine principles of prosperity and prepared to use wealth for the highest good of all.